This is A New Nigeria with Wale Oluwade. This is your current affairs program where we critically examine the strategic issues bedeviling Nigeria's developmental aspirations and boldly offer practical, bold, and audacious ideas on building the Nigeria of our collective desires. On today's episode of the program, we're continuing, or rather, it's a conclusion of the interview I began last week with the former Minister for Youth and Sports, Comrade Minister Solomon Dalung. In this concluding part of that interview, he will be giving us his own suggestions on how to permanently resolve the senseless killings on the Plateau. Also, I did a brief examination or evaluation of the Buhari administration where he served as Minister for Youth and Sports for 4 years. He gives his own verdict in his characteristics, blunt, manner. It is vintage Solomon Dalung. You do not want to miss it. So we'll take this short break, and when I return, we'll get right into the conversation. Please stay with us.
President Buhari is one person that has the capacity to listen to the truth, no matter how bitter it is. Tinubu should look for people. When there was problem during Jonathan, I was one of the ardent critics of Jonathan. Every day I was on air criticizing Jonathan. But Jonathan invited me so many times, and I advised him, even though he did not use it. But he looked for people. So Jonathan seems to be a more willing president to deal with the situation. His challenge was that he was not quite prepared for leadership. Tinubu has been a governor of Lagos, a very complex state, for 8 years. Are you saying he didn't know what to do? You gave an advice, and yes. I think I should respond to that. I don't want to have the experience I had with Buhari, with Tinubu again.
That's why I said, for the sake of innocent people.
Listen to me.
Yes.
The last time I saw Buhari,
yes,
I put before President Buhari the damaging security situation. And he confessed to me that he didn't know the depth of the situation as it were.
Exactly.
The president begged me that, please, I should come and see him regularly to update him on the security situation. I also gave him advice on things he should do. But I told him that was the last time I was going to see him. And he became very angry. Why would I say so? And that became the last time.
Wow.
I don't want to run any battle with a cabal again. Tinubu's cabal is more sophisticated than Buhari's cabal. Buhari's cabal is a group of inexperienced people who run after money. Tinubu's cabal is a sophisticated cabal, educated, experienced, they have tested power. I don't want to have problem with them.
Since we're already touching on this, can you expatiate on what you mean by comparing cabals, the President Muhammad Buhari cabal to President Tinubu's cabal? In the first place, I think eventually everybody came to accept that there was a cabal. I spoke with your former colleague, Barrister Adebayo Shitu. You sat here where you sat about 3 weeks ago, and he did admit that there were gatekeepers. I didn't use the word cabal, I used the word gatekeepers. So he acknowledged that former Chief of Staff, late Abakari, was a gatekeeper, that whatever memo you brought, whoever you are, he would make sure he never saw the president. Abba, he said the young man, what was his name? Tunde Sabiu, was a gatekeeper also. And then, of course, he also had issues from his state governor. But I don't think anybody has talked about President Tinubu having a cabal. So can you enlighten me, sir? Who are the cabal under President Tinubu?
The chairman of Tinubu's cabal is Gbadabi Amila.
How?
He is the chief of staff.
Yes.
The office of the chief of staff to the president under Obasanjo played his traditional role.
Okay.
In fact, you don't even know who was Obasanjo.
You never even saw him.
They were not visible.
Not many people could point at the man.
Very good. But suddenly, during Jonathan, they became very ambitious. And they annexed all authority within the office of the president to themselves.
Let me ask you this question, sir. Is that not because the principal, the president, allowed them to do that? Don't you think so?
Well,
especially under President Muhammad Buhari, who openly said in the glare of the world that if you want to see me, see my chief of staff, or you see the SGF, don't come to me. He gave them, he ceded his power. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because under Obasanjo, President Obasanjo has the penchant of picking his phone, calling you at dead midnight. I was very close to a couple of ministers. And they will tell me, the president will call them randomly at any time to ask them anything. He had access to everybody. Everybody had access to him. Even I had access to President Obasanjo when he was president. So I think it's about the person occupying that office. If you cede your, especially President Muhammad Buhari, I like the man personally as an individual, but I think he did great damage to the office of President of Nigeria. My personal opinion. And I'm old, I'm big enough to say that.
Okay, are you hypertensive? Because what
I'm not.
Okay, what I'm going to say should not rest your BP.
Okay.
I love this country so much. And while in office, I did things that nobody will take that risk. I went to the creek alone.
I remember.
To negotiate with the youth.
And the president was telling you, don't go, don't do it, don't die, and all of
the
that.
stability we enjoyed.
Yes.
When this government came on board, for the love I have for this country, I don't care who stays in the villa. All I'm interested in is that things should work. Nigerians should have the best of the deal.
Exactly.
I called the National Security Advisor where the problem started on the Plateau. I called him severally. He didn't pick. I sent him texts. He didn't reply. I sent him WhatsApp messages. He didn't reply. The National Security Advisor has been my friend since 2000.
Which one was that now?
This
Nuhu
Ribadu.
Oh, wow.
He has been my friend since he was EFCC chairman.
Wow.
We were together with him in Tinubu's strategic committee before I resigned from APC.
Wow.
He did not reply this thing. So out of confidence, I said, no, I can't allow my state to boil.
Yes.
I drove to the office of the National Security Advisor. And they said, you can't go in until you clear with him. Former minister.
An elder from that state.
Former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria cannot access government office. I was turned back in front of Nurbadu's office.
Maybe they have a security report on you or something.
Well, you are coming back to this cabal thing again. Now, Bajabi Amila, I have a friend in Lagos who passionately appealed to me the way you did. And I told him, I said, Alhaji Kunle, I don't want to have problem with these people. They are enjoying the milk of power, and they have successfully caged the president. You want me to go there? I'm a very handsome man, but I'm only ugly in the mouth. Don't allow me. He begged me. He gave me the numbers of Bajabi Amila. I sent messages, even telling him, oh, this is my name. I'm Solomon Dalung. I don't like this one minister thing. But I thought, okay, let me add this to that.
Yes.
Bajabi Amila has not replied me till today. That is why I'm telling you authoritatively that from my experience as a former minister, the cabal of President Tinubu is more
sophisticated
than that of Buhari.
Wow.
So I told the president, I said, for being a comrade, we don't betray our own. The fact that you fought for this democracy, you are more than anybody. I went to the president. So I know the president and his capacity. But the problem is that it's not about Tinubu. It is about those people you have now upgraded their name to gatekeepers. But their real names, they are cabal.
Comrade Minister, you know, I hear you loud and clear. But, and you know, interestingly, we all have one or two experiences. In fact, in my own case, I have several experiences with people in government, even under President Muhammadu Buhari's government. I can't count. I've been on an interview set with Garba Shehu. I've been on an interview set with, what's this man from Lagos, Ben Akabueze. I've been on an interview set, maybe I'm just leaving and the minister is just coming. You know, so I've had experiences with people in government. It seems to me that once they're in government, they live in a bubble. So whatever you tell them, you know, they don't listen. But importantly, what I also experience is that there's this sense of it's our turn. It's our turn. Nobody should, you know, bother us. We'll do it the way we want to do it. But some of us have taken the higher, you know, way, which is Nigeria belongs to all of us. We cannot allow this country, you know, to sink the way it is going, because everything I told I criticized President Muhammadu Buhari came to pass. But when we're saying it, we were sounding like alarmist, or unpatriotic, Now,
Or wireless.
or whalers, exactly, according to Pastor Femi Adesina, whalers. Specifically under, like I said, January 2nd this year, the first assignment I did this year was to write a letter to the president on the education system in Nigeria, specifically tertiary education, that we're wasting so much money and our education system has collapsed. And I have this idea, I think, we can all, with, more heads, examine to see the practicability or workability of it. So I wrote this letter asking for 30 minutes presentation, 30 minutes to make a presentation. And surprisingly, I got a feedback, I got a response 7 days or 5 days, that, oh, you have a letter from the villa, and then they gave me the letter. And it was basically like, oh, please go and meet the Minister for Education, and that was the end of that. But like I said, some of us have chosen not to be deterred, or give up on Nigeria. I have no other country than this country, and this struggle for a better or a new Nigeria, as the name of this program is not about myself or yourself. It's about our children and the future generation of Nigeria. So I would still appeal to you, Comrade Minister, to not give up on Nigeria, but in the meantime, why I'm particularly making this appeal? I foresee grave danger because as we speak, there are protests breaking out because of hunger in Niger State, in
Kano,
in Kwara,
Kogi,
and a few other places. And why did I bring this up? What is going on on the Plateau, in Benue, and all these other places, generally referred to in Nigeria as the food plains or the food baskets of the nation. That is why this is very, very important. So I go back to the point. Do you consider my appeal? Would you give it a shot?
The purpose of you being in government is to help your principal succeed.
Absolutely.
And this know-it-all mentality,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
is against the interests of your principal. You have to help him succeed. So I don't think it is correct to generalize. But you see, the cabal and whom we glorify as gatekeepers, what the definition of a cabal is a group of ambitious elements within the corridor of power who shared their aspiration distinctively different from that of their principal, yet occupy strategic position. So they are there on the occasion of their principal, but they are doing their own bidding. So they kept blocking people from seeing the president because better people than them will assess the president with ideas, and that is a threat to their position. So these things, like I said, started under President Goodluck Jonathan. This idea of a cabal, establishing their fangs on the bone marrow of government and holding the president hostage, thereby behaving, acting, approving on behalf of the president. Why I said the president had a cabal is because from the experience of a memo that approved 3 billion naira by the chief of staff to the president. It's an irregular approval. The process is...
Correct me if I'm wrong. Could the president not have delegated that authority to the chief of staff to do
the sum of 3
is
billion, way beyond even a minister.
Okay.
It is an approval that will have to be done if it's a contract by the Federal Executive Council. So the chief of staff of the president cannot convey an approval without a photocopy of a memo where the president's approval and his signature is contained. That's how it is done. So what he is just to do is to write and convey to the minister the approval with that attachment. Now that was lacking, meaning that the office of the chief of staff approved 3 billion on behalf of the president. And it's a very common phenomenon within the presidency. As to whether I should give up on Nigeria, no, I cannot give up on this country. I will keep fighting for a better Nigeria until I breathe last. I have a principle that struggle continues even in the grave. So I will not give up on Nigeria.
We need to wrap up on this bit, and then we don't even have much time. My director is telling me we need to wrap up. But are there sufficient deployment of troops? I know the armed forces are so spread, are thinly spread all over Nigeria to break points, But do we have sufficient numbers of troops on the plateau to quell this uprising?
No,
because this must never happen again.
The troops, the Nigerian troops, are very wonderful and fantastic, but they have been overstretched. For over a decade and a half, they've been on the streets instead
over the places.
of being in the barracks. They're now playing the complementary role more than their even constitutional role. So they are overstretched. And the dynamics of criminality as it is now
is
evolving rapidly. So, and their retraining and training cannot complement the dynamism of this, because the political leadership is not even given due attention to, one, massive recruitment.
Exactly.
Two, training and retraining. Three, acquiring modern equipment and weapons to deal with these challenges.
Can you mention 2 or 3 achievements, notable achievements in your 4-year tenure?
I don't want to take too much of your time. I left an outstanding performance in the ministry that has not been challenged up to now.
In what way? Give me data, give me facts.
I qualified Nigeria for World Cup in 2018 without the jumbo-sized presidential task force.
Okay.
In 2018, the Tigers became the first African country to qualify to quarterfinals in 100 years.
Okay. In 100 years?
100 years.
Wow.
In 2017, Nigeria became the first African country to win World Championship in Scrabble, and we retained it back-to-back in 2018.
But under you, Super Eagles did not qualify for Nations Cup in 2015 after having won it in 2013.
No.
What happened?
No, under my watch, we qualified for all the international competitions.
Okay.
Because when I came in, we were nowhere. We qualified for WAFU, we qualified for AFCON, we qualified for CHAN, we qualified for World Cup.
Fantastic.
So I left a record that till date has not been challenged.
Fantastic. With what we now know from everything that has happened, even though facts are still coming out, are you proud to have served under President Muhammad Buhari? Are you proud of the administration? Maybe in 1 minute. We need to.
I know I'm proud to serve my country.
Okay.
But you see, I was part of those who worked tediously for President Buhari to be elected. But regrettably, we did not fulfill the covenant, the democratic covenant we had
with the people.
with Nigerians. And people have come up to say we try. No.
What would you say to someone like Pastor Femi Adesina, the former SA to the president, who says Buhari is a conviction? That, in fact, the interviewer asked him, are you saying like faith? He said yes. Buhari is as strong to him as his Christian faith. Because I found that quite absurd. I found it, quite telling that when you have leaders who are surrounded by extreme sycophants, then the leaders fail before they even begin. Because the after effects of the Buhari disastrous 8 years presidency were beginning. I mean, it's everywhere. We can see it. What do you say to people like Femi Adesina, who gather together? Were you at the book launch?
I was not invited, but
they will not invite somebody like you. Like I told Adebayo also.
I believe in Buhari.
Yes.
But Buhari as a person is different from Buhari as a president. And Buhari as a president failed.
Absolutely.
Anybody who loves Buhari must say this. That's the truth. We campaign
On
with a four-point agenda.
3, insecurity, economy, anti-corruption. 3.
Youth employment.
That's just 3.
Unemployment.
3.
Okay, let's take the 3.
Yes.
We should be evaluated on the 3. Corruption. I can just pick one instance.
Yeah.
The accountant general.
Absolutely.
109 billion in one single transaction.
One person.
We don't know of the other one.
Absolutely.
Under his watch.
Absolutely. Magu. The 2 or 3 anti-corruption, the AFCC bosses under Buhari, they all ended
that
up.
one failed. We came in when dollar was 187.
Exactly.
He left when dollar was about 600 or 700. Rice was around 7,000.
Yeah. 8,000 thereabouts.
Yeah, 7, 8. We left rice at over
60,000.
Very good.
That's what I bought December.
The indices to measure us is the promises, and we fail to discharge on that. That I will admit.
That's why.
But Buhari as a person, he meant well, but he was unable to translate his will into action.
I agree with you. I agree with you. That is why I believe you're going to be a regular on my program. You know, every time I call you, I'm sure you'd oblige me. Finally, sir, in one minute, if you can do this, you contested to be House of Reps member in 2023 on the platform of the Social Democratic Party. You lost. You came 3rd behind Benila of the PDP and one other person. Is there any plans for you to move back to APC, right? Is there any plans to move back to APC? That is one. Secondly, this whole shenanigan about the Court of Appeal rulings that sacked the entire National Assembly members of PDP, State House of Assembly members of PDP. I mean, can you do this in less than 2 minutes?
Democracy in Nigeria is under siege. I have given...
How do we remedy it?
Yes.
How do we salvage it?
Yes, I've given my interview about it. If you want to win an election now in Nigeria, from the judgment of the Supreme Court, in the case of the president, go to INEC and campaign.
Wow.
Don't waste your time going anywhere.
Wow. That's
Because
that's an allegation you're making on
national
national
It's not an allegation, it's a judgment.
And it's a weighty
No,
allegation.
it's a judgment of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said INEC can roll out rules.
And at the same time...
And then on the day of the election, they can change the rules and you cannot hold them accountable. So why do you need to waste time going for the people? You have to go and campaign to Mahmoud. If you find favor with Mahmoud, he will declare you winner. You go and sort it out.
But was that really the interpretation of the judgment of INEC, of the Supreme Court?
What would that mean?
The Constitution gives INEC
that you can change the
powers.
you can change the goalpost in the midst of the game. That is the import of that judgment.
We'll come back on this another time to come and interrogate this. Are you going back to APC?
Well, there is a political tsunami and uncertainty.
So when the dust are settled?
Nobody knows where we are.
So when the dust are settled, then we decide where?
We don't know when the dust may settle because, I mean, you can hear what is happening.
Exactly.
Poor people are already on the street. See the 3 women arrested. They are already midwives of positive change. Local people.
What 3 women? In Plateau?
In Niger.
Nasarawa?
Niger.
Niger, okay.
Who were able to mobilize over 10,000 people.
Yeah.
These are
protesting about hunger and all of that.
Very good.
In the
so,
state.
Is anybody talking about democracy should talk about what is on
we
the
have
street.
to go now. Okay. Last point, just in 1 minute, if you can. Recently, Senator Ali Ndume and one other, I think, a lawyer, Bashir Dahatu, if I'm not mistaken, senior advocate, said, because of the relocation of the FAN and CBN departments of those agencies to Lagos, the entire North is feeling marginalized, and there's a threat of the relocation of the FCT to Lagos. But then subsequent investigations did reveal that Ali Ndume especially has a daughter at CBN, has a son-in-law at CBN. First thing is that, were these people speaking? Because when they said the entire North, I'm thinking...
Ali Ndume is not speaking for himself. Ali Ndume is speaking for the North.
Okay.
But my take on this is that the president did not even need to take the country through this route.
Okay.
He inherited a well-divided country.
Okay.
And so his body language should suggest what will unite the country. You see, these moves raise a lot of suspicion, especially the budgeting for the rehabilitation, the
Renovation of
yes,
the dam
of
barracks
the dam
and
we,
all of
we
that.
don't need this route.
Okay.
The president needs to invest more on national unity.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong with having the agencies spread all over.
Exactly.
We're even quarreling in the North Central that the president took our heritage, the ITF DG, which since its inception.
The what?
DG of ITF.
ITF.
Yes.
Okay.
It has been our.
Yeah, in Jos. I
for
visited
the
it several
people of the
times.
North Central.
Actually.
He took it now and gave the Southwest. But he did not appoint anybody from the North Central as a Minister of Petroleum or appointed him as DG of NDDC.
But
So
every state in Nigeria has a minister, honorable minister. But
no,
we're totally out of time.
No,
We're
it's not about minister.
Yes.
But, okay, why have they not appointed a Plateau man, a Minister of Petroleum? Why?
That's not for me to answer.
Very good. So these are the things the president has to avoid.
Okay. I take your point about national cohesion.
Very, very
The president should ensure, body language, deliberate actions,
Yes.
speaks to national cohesion.
That
but
is it.
do you think Ndume was correct to have made such an incendiary comment? Because I think he went overboard and it was absolutely unnecessary. What do you think? One sentence.
If the monitor
Yes.
comes out of the river
Yes.
and announce the death of the crocodile, nobody will disbelieve him because he's the latest visitor from the sea. Ndume worked for the president.
Absolutely.
Ndume produced
The president.
the Senate president today. So he knew more than what he's saying.
Okay.
So I don't want to be dragging to it because my mother has warned me that when two corn men are fighting,
You should
an
stay out of
innocent
it.
man should stay out of it.
Comrade Minister, it's been an engaging and, I can tell you, exciting interview. I'm sure you get the feedback from Nigerians. You never disappoint anytime. And I hope we can make this as regular as possible. I hope the next time I have you here, it won't be because of killings on the plateau. We can sit down and discuss the economy and so many other things. I must thank you so much for
My
coming.
doors are wide open if it's
Thank
for
you.
Nigeria.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure too.
Now, that's the end of the show today. Remember to follow me on my various social media handles. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can watch this particular video and all the others that are there. Remember, change requires action, and positive change requires positive action. I believe in a new Nigeria, and it is possible. That's the end of the show today. See you next time. Bye for now.